Morning, hello. I'm posting this from Edinburgh, from our last day in Scotland, partly for the obligatory YouTube algorithms, and partly just to fill you in, partly to clear the space and the energy for this coming season and address a few issues that I feel are pressing at this time. It's really fresh and early in the morning here, and my feeling is that there is a need for a sort of waking up from a fantasy. Isn't that all what the spiritual process is about? Is waking up from our delusions, and then waking up from the delusions which we then layer on top of that. And what qualifies as a delusion? Really anything that's not true, anything that's not worthwhile, anything that is a distraction, which is 90% of the things that there are. It has been a big experience for me being in Scotland and spending so much time reading, learning, educating myself all about the history of this country, history of the British Isles in general, after being away for 2 years, to come back and understand it from a European perspective, from a different perspective, and to see how the spiritual truths that I've come to know through experience, how they apply here. And of course distraction comes in all forms, and the distractions are also linked to nationalism, feudalism, what our identity is. Everything's about the ego, and I'm not sure where I stand on all of this, but certainly the victim and aggressor dynamic has been playing out here, with underdog victim-like feelings with the Celtic native population of Scotland and Ireland, and an aggressor stance of the English, and then that kind of feeling of being wronged and being a victim, being a victim of horrific crimes, especially in Ireland, and my ancestors in Scotland. But then holding on to that as an identity, as a sense of self, and then not being able to get over it and move on. Likewise, the English having this either justifying the violence and making excuses, and well, many of the things that I know now I didn't learn in school, so just denying. And then when people discover the truths, then there's a huge feeling of guilt and shame, and that, again, it doesn't serve much. It doesn't actually change things for us to feel guilty about our ancestors. And also, feeling guilty about your ancestors is quite convenient because it's not something you did. So instead of us looking at our lives, we simultaneously don't really pay attention to the past and where we've come from, and seeing okay, this is why my mind is the way it is. It's because I've learnt from my ancestors automatically, even if they didn't communicate much, as mine never did. I can see in my own psyche how I came to be this way. I can see it through television, and my automatic mind frame, not how I actually am today, but my if I was to revert into that kind of lower level of consciousness, of awareness, the automatic stuff is quite kill or be killed. So we simultaneously perhaps don't acknowledge where we've come from, and we think we're just in a bubble. And especially our generation is very cut off from our ancestors. I've had to come here to really feel the energy and just tap into the story because like my parents, they've been quite cut off. Like I don't know anything about my dad's side of the family, and it's a sort of a block to the ancestral lineage, you know, the negative and the positive, and there is a lot of positive. And it's like we pick and choose. We pick the things we feel guilty about. We oh, you know, I'm white. Oh, I'm British. These kind of things. We identify with this label so we can, you know, feel bad about ourselves, but then feel like we're doing something because we feel bad. But that's not it. It's looking at your personal life and seeing how is that Britishness or that whiteness that's the negative aspects of these labels. How are you imbibing them now and doing damage, doing detrimental things in the world? And that's far more something to I would never feel guilty about, but to repent for and to feel heavy about, and then kind of let that heaviness be released. Because I'm seeing, especially in this like white middle class population, is this real self-loathing and hatred, and it's like, where is that going to get us? That is not going to bring out any positive result if we all hate ourselves, and in fact it's just going to foster more resentment and therefore create racism. These things are not accidental. So the same goes for gender, getting bogged down with any particular gender. I'm a woman, I'm a victim, I'm a man, I'm an aggressor. And instead seeing the uniqueness of every human being and the freeing thing of not having a label. I don't wake up in the morning and think, oh, I'm white, or oh, I'm a woman. Just get on with my life. I'm just me, being me and doing what I need to do. And it's not selfish to better yourself, to get yourself up to a level where you're more in tune with what's happening for you and less caught up in the swirl of the external world. That's actually far more beneficial collectively than anything you could do parading in the street. I've done it. I've been there, you know, just really protesting. What for? Who are you speaking to? Speak to yourself. Speak to your inner bigots, your inner judge, and see where. The thing with all humans, and I see this when I travel a lot, we both do, it's very funny, it's just how angry everyone is. Everyone is so angry just beneath the surface, and you don't need to scratch too far below the surface to have that come out and be shown for what it is. And that's what we really just need to accept about ourselves. And this isn't a case of like, get angry. No, you already are. So feel it, let it go through you. The city is waking up, the cars are coming out, and then just let it pass through you. Just, you can sit with it, and it's the resistance when you feel it hit your neck and you judge it for being whatever it is, because otherwise you're numb. You can't feel anything negative, but you also can't really feel anything positive. So just stop judging how you are, how you feel, anything you think anything. Let it come up to the surface, question it, and let it pass through you, because we're not going to get through our prejudices just by saying no. But it's by having compassion for ourselves and understanding and comprehending these things. So journal, write, spend time with yourself. There's a dog. And question everything, as always. So I am continuing with this Mercury series, and it is fantastic because it's all about questioning your mind and looking in your mind and seeing what's there and laughing at it. And it's a humorous game. And after that I'll be moving into a Jupiter series, which is it's a powerful energy. And how are you working with that power in your chart? Because we don't realise how powerful we are, and we're getting muddled up in trifles, in tiny little distracting things that the whatever these powers that be, they love that, because it's a misuse of our energy. We're not really using our potential to better ourselves individually, because if we do, this is the way I'm leaning now, is because I've tried communities, I've tried communal living and all these things. They have we're just not ready for them as as a collective group of humans, and it's much more necessary for us to do the work to be in a relationship, even with one other person or friend or family member, than living and trying very hard to force a communal way of being, to make everybody unify and eat the same thing at the same time, and all of that. It's just brings out the little dictators in us. What's happening with the war, with the pandemic, with all these crises that are occurring is it's the world, the universe, asking you to let go of attachments, because the reason we're all feeling this pinch so much is because we've got so attached to a certain way of living. And I've been looking a lot into the tribal living of our ancestors in Britain, my ancestors in Britain, and it's definitely possible to live without a lot of the things that we think we need. Breakfast is a construct. Heating. We have these incredible God-given jumpers in the form of wool. There's just so much out there that can... And just to be fully present in our body, if you can make yourself into your own heater, if you can generate your own heat the way that Richie does, he can just sit there and sort of vibrate himself until he's extremely warm. And this is possible for every single human, and I'm hoping to get there, doing cold showers, if the heating gets turned off, well, and it sounds harsh and it sounds like it's not caring and considerate, and it's because it is such a huge contrast for us. So I've been the last 5 years more or less preparing myself for this moment by stripping back my needs, stripping back my expectations from the world, because it is a growing up period. This is what I was thinking as I was dropping off last night, was it's time for us all to be adults, and we've been expecting our parents to be parents when they can't, they don't know how. We've been expecting our teachers to teach when they're restricted in what they can teach, and we've been expecting so much from the external world to give us things, and it's time to get very small. And it's been this way for the last 3 years, but it's not subsiding, at least for now, especially not in this Virgo time. It's about being small inside and internal, and sort of sowing those seeds. In 2016 it was said things are going to get a lot darker before they get better, and it has been that way for sure. The light is coming, but things are getting much darker before that, and that's not a bad thing. That's us actually at least bringing all of this shit up to the surface to be seen, because otherwise it just, in your idyllic utopian communal setting, everybody's sitting there with all their family trauma, all of their strange perversions, mental perversions, and just sitting on it and not addressing it. And I think it can really only be an inside job, because every time we look externally, we're really using someone else who's in a different place, in a different path, to try and fix our own journey, or judge our own journey, or give us advice about our own. And only you can really know you. This is why I advocate so much for self-knowledge, and it just so happens that I fell into self-knowledge through the form of the archetypes and astrology, and seeing them play out within my life day to day, seeing it play out in the lives of others. So I've got lots of readings coming up, but if you would like to book one with me, please go to the website ineffableelse.com. This is traffic central now, so I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for listening to my morning musings from Scotland. Take care.